Welcome back to our podcast. This is Layla Rose, and today we are discussing manifestation and the difference between manifesting with masculine energy and feminine energy. So, I don't know if you noticed, but in the word manifestation, there is the word man. And so there's something that I called, just for fun, womanifestation, which is the feminine way of manifesting, which is very, very different. So a lot of times when we look on social media and we see, these manifestation techniques, tricks, coaches, they're all teaching how to manifest with the conscious mind. And let me remind you that the conscious mind, which is connected to the masculine energy, which is the energy of doing, which is connected to the light, only controls 5% of the brain. So when someone works with manifestation, so working with the masculine energy to manifest, they are bounded by time, space, and matter. And we also know that everything that is connected to the light, to masculinity, is an illusion, right? Because 96% of the universe is dark matter, so darkness, right? Okay, hopefully this is clear. I'm trying to explain this in a very simple way. So when we use manifestation, we use time, space, and matter, which is why it takes a lot of time when we manifest. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of repetition as well, a lot of energy. A lot of times when you listen to people's success stories, they would tell you that it takes them years to get something. When you use the opposite, so I can't even say that word, I'm not going to repeat it. When you use feminine energy, dark matter, the subconscious mind, which controls 96% of our daily actions, you are not bounded by space, time, and matter. Therefore, you become your own source. So I talk about this a lot. It's very easy to practice. Let me just grab a quick sip of water. So to manifest with dark matter and feminine energy, first of all, it's extremely quick. This is why I created the Unstuck workshop to teach how to manifest with darkness, because it's so quick. But a lot of people have limiting beliefs around darkness and they think it's bad, and they're scared of their God self. They're scared of the darkness, and so therefore the masses, the majority of people are enslaved to time, space, and matter, and to the matrix. This is how we call it. So how to do it? Very simple. You find a dark space. This is what happens, naturally when we meditate or visualize and we close our eyes, because everything's becomes dark suddenly. So when people pray, they're using darkness. But yeah, obviously people don't use that word, but this is what they mean. When people say, get into your vortex, get into the unified field, blah, blah, blah. Again, darkness. You find a dark space. I love to use my closet for some reason, because it gets like super dark, I can't see anything at all, right? And so you can go into your closet or a closed space, your bathroom, whatever, where it's like completely black, right? You can't see anything. It might feel scary at first if you do still have these limiting beliefs, but at some point, like when you go past that fear, what's going to happen is it's going to feel very soothing. And usually what I did at first when I started doing that, because obviously I was like, oh my God, I can't see anything. And then I felt like my nervous system kind of get like activated, because it's like, because you can't see anything. So you don't know. I know it's not, but that's the thing about fear. It's not rational, but your nervous system is kind of like, oh my God, it's like we're like in a forest at night and we can't see if something is coming at us. Like that's how primal we are, But you can imagine yourself as being inside your mother's womb at first, you know? So you can put on, there's a lot of music on YouTube about, you can type like womb sound or water, like dark water. Not dark water, obviously, it's not just water. But yeah, because you want to recreate this experience of being inside your mother's womb. But yeah, there's a lot of music of like literally being inside a womb. And while you're listening to that, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. But when you're going to visualize what you want, you're going to visualize as if the end is already happening. So let's take a very specific example. Let me just, again, sip of water. If you want to manifest a different outcome within a connection, a relationship, a friendship. I love human connections because they're, direct mirrors of what's happening within our subconscious. That's why they are very triggering for all of us. No one is exempt. And so let's say you're dealing with a situation and it just doesn't feel good. That's it. Like, it's not that deep. It just doesn't feel good. You don't like how things are going, or let's say you went into a fight with someone, or I don't know, it just doesn't feel good, right? So what you want to do, instead of doing manifestation and wasting so much time, you go into the darkness, you become source, right? Because automatically when you merge with darkness, like, you are the source of your own life, you are the god or goddess of your own life. This is something that comes more naturally to women because we have a uterus, so we have this direct connection. So this process can also be done if you ask a woman to do it for yourself as well, if you're a man. Yeah, so you're in the darkness, and what's going to happen is that you're going to visualize the end, all right? So you're going to completely like, not avoid, that's not the word, but you don't want to like think about the current circumstances. Like, let's say your ego, your conscious mind is like, well, there's no way that person is going to talk to me again because that fight was like really bad, or whatever, like, or oh my god, this guy didn't text me in like 3 or 4 days. Like, obviously, like any conclusion that your mind is doing, right? And then you're like, oh my god, there's no way this is gonna work. That's your ego, okay? Which is normal when you're not grounded, when your nervous system is not regulated. It's just going to go through these loops of like, oh my god, all these negative thoughts, right? So what you want to do is, especially if it's very intense, like, and you feel like you cannot visualize for some reason because there's too much thoughts and like negative thoughts, you want to make sure that you are in a grounded state before you try to like visualize or create anything, because you're going to create from that frequency. So if you feel agitated, or if you feel like too, like, I don't know, you don't feel good, basically, just focus on doing some breath work in the darkness and really grounding yourself. And I feel like breath work is one of the most efficient somatic exercise. You can do it for like 5 to 10 minutes and you can completely shift your mood. And at the same time, you also want to accept and acknowledge the fact that, hey, my ego is playing this game with me right now because, as a kid, I was probably not treated right, and I might have this like fear of being abandoned or not chosen, and now it's being recreated in my adult life, but I created this illusion. And so you can say these phrases out loud, in the darkness, and say things like, I'm not afraid of the darkness, I created this illusion, my will is done, and I claim my power now. And so you're basically using your free will and spelling to create, this safe space around you. So once you're in that grounded space and you feel good and you've done the breath work and you're like calm down, maybe it could be the next day if you're not feeling that good, because you really want to make sure you feel good, you know. And so that's why it's easier to do these practices when things are going great in your life, because you're just amplifying that energy instead of waiting that something bad's gonna happen and then you just sit there crying and you're like, oh my god, I need to manifest my way out of this. It's easier to, you know, you can do it, but I feel like it's easier to practice from this high state, this high frequency. So once you feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more hopeful, and you're like, you know what, let me just focus on what I want, you know. And these are the steps, by the way, of alchemy. So once you've burned down everything, the negativity, the past and everything, and now you can focus on what you want to create. And so let's say it's a connection with someone. You can, you know, be in the darkness and focus on visualizing this person, you know, standing in front of you, completely happy to see you and smiling. And you can visualize you guys, you know, laughing on a beach, laughing at a 5-star luxury hotel, like whatever you want to, you know. Even if your mind is like, this doesn't make sense, like that person would never accept to, you know, do a trip with me, blah blah blah, like please, like that's just the ego once again. And if your mind still goes there again, you start at the beginning and you ground yourself, do the somatic, you know, exercises, you get the trauma out of your body, and then boom boom boom. And it's a practice, by the way. It's not like something you do once and that's it. Like it's a lifestyle, like that this is how you live, but you're gonna notice that your quality of life is going to elevate more and more, and it's just gonna go up, it's not gonna go down. So you focus on what you want to create and you focus on what feels good, even if it doesn't make rational sense. Like you focus on what makes you feel good. If it's about, you know, your financial situation, then you focus on what would be the ideal situation for you. Like what would be the ideal situation? And you just focus on that. And that's how you're giving energy, and that's how you're giving life to it. Because if you keep on focusing on what's not working in your life, you're just amplifying it, you know. Especially if you're a woman, you're an amplifier. So you just feeding it, right? And I know, trust me, like I know how hard it is sometimes depending on the situations, because obviously some things are kind of, you know, a bit superficial sometimes, and those are like easier sometimes to manage. But when it comes to like family issues, things that are more negative, more activating or triggering because they're triggering childhood trauma, like obviously, you know, be kind to yourself. Like this is not something that is done like overnight at first, but obviously once you're past that point of reliving your childhood trauma and, you know, you've healed that and you didn't suppress it, because that's what most people do, they suppress it, and that's why they're having a lot of issues with their health and body weight, because it's like the body keeping that stuck energy, that weight. But once you get rid of that and you do the alchemical process, then you can create very easily, and it's very quick. Like I can manifest things with darkness like within 24 hours, and it's so fun. It's like a game, right? It's like a video game. And every time I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. Because here's the thing, you know, when we hear, you know, we don't control the how, it's the same thing with darkness. You focus on the end, but you don't know how it's going to come to you, and you don't know when it's going to come to you as well. You know, you don't try to like micromanage the universe and Mother Nature, right? You just tell her what you want, and then it's going to come when it's going to come and how it's going to come. Like you don't decide that. But it's fun to play that game because, you know, it always happens in ways that are so surprising. And it's like, oh my god, I did not expect to meet that person in that context. Or I was just out grocery shopping and then boom, I met this like incredible person. Or this happened and it just made me smile. And I'm so grateful for it, you know. And I don't know, it feels good to be playing that game because it happens very quickly. And yeah, you cannot be manipulated, you cannot be owned by anything when you understand, not just understand that concept, but you execute it. That's the big difference, because a lot of people know about this. It's like a deep knowing that we are all darkness, but a lot of times executing it is more difficult, because people have limiting beliefs that are blocking them to experience, this, I don't know, I call it enlightenment. That's what it is, because I feel like that's where the true light is. It's hidden. I also call it the golden shadow, because that is the true light. The light is not the love and light bullshit that we see on social media about this fake toxic positivity and, oh my God, be careful about demons and the devil, and like, what? You're spiritual and you haven't grasped the law of duality. Like, that's not how life works, but it's fine. We're all at different levels. I'm not shaming anyone. We're all, I was there at some point, so I can't even I can't even talk shit about that. But it's so crazy to be at another level, and to see, oh my God, I was stuck there at some point. And that's why we need to have compassion and forgiveness for ourselves at first, and then obviously when we're able to forgive ourselves, it's easier to forgive others, because we know that we're just inside a stimulation, a video game that has different levels of consciousness. It's not about intelligence. It's not about who's better than who. It's just levels of consciousness. Like, some people are more aware of what's happening in the reality, and some are completely obvious. I can't talk. I'm going to go to bed. So thank you for being here with me today. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.